I'm very pleased to be talking with Donna Miller this morning, one of the co-authors from Transformation 2020. It is wonderful to see you today, Donna. How are you?
Thank you. It is wonderful to be here. So far, so good. It's a beautiful day. Sun is shining. And it's a little bit warm. How about that for November?
Yes, it's a treat, right?
Yeah.
So you have just a rich, amazing story of your life. And you have a company called Happily Ever Actions, which I just am so over the moon over that title, right? Can you tell us just a little bit about your work, anything you'd like to share about yourself or your life or your work?
Okay. Well, Happily Ever Actions is a company that teaches people what I've learned about ways to be sustainably happy. You know, even with anything that should hit you, if you get in touch with your authentic self, who you really are, and you operate from that center, from that core, no matter what hits, you're able to find resiliency and eventually get back to your ability to feel good and feel happy and healthy. So it's been a long journey and a lot of education. I studied from some of the best people, you know, Tal Ben-Shahar and Whole Being Institute, Kripalu, Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer. I mean, I had some incredible teachers. I didn't just stumble upon this. It's all science-backed information. The interesting part is that we just, in our everyday life and society, aren't given this information. So our quality of life could really be different, you know, if we just knew some of these concepts. And that's what Happily Ever Actions is about. It's actions we can take in every moment, in every day, to live a life worth living.
I love that how you are sharing this with the world, because it's so true. I mean, I know this for myself, that there are certain actions that I needed to learn how to take in order to be in that positive space, right? It's not like this airy fairy thing that magically happens. It's like daily actions that I took. And I've seen that work over and over again with people that I work with or know, when they put those things in place, that they do receive that. And it's so wonderful that you're sharing that in a very clear way with people. And you do that in the book, Transformation 2020. And I know you have other book projects in the works as well. They're very exciting. What drew you to participate in the Transformation 2020 book?
Well, Green Heart Living, what you're doing in the world right now is a shared mission. I mean, you want to make the world a better place. You want to share any knowledge or information. And I was very attracted to that. When someone, I forget who it was that first told, I think it was Gina Johnson, that might have been the first person to tell me about you. And then I contacted you. And then the book was coming out and you invited me. And I was very excited when I learned what you were doing with that. And I was thrilled to be accepted. So yes, and I do have 3 other books I'm authoring right now, a trilogy. So, and I'm working closely with Joe Bologna, and it's just been, what a journey. I mean, even yesterday we were invited to, because the first one is on spirituality and how important that is as a foundation to happiness. And we were invited to St. Mary's right here in New Haven. They just buried, entombed, I should say, a saint there. And the pastor, we were invited, we went, he let him take pictures all throughout the church. And it was just such unbelievable. And then spending time with the Native American, the Pagosset tribe here, and the clan mother for 2 days and learning about spirituality from that point of view. All of it's been a miracle, a miracle. I have visited every faith now, and it's right here in our backyard. I didn't have to go to India. Right here. My Eat, Pray, Love journey was right here in COVID, in the time of COVID. We all wore masks.
Right.
Just amazing, amazing stuff.
So to dive in and make sure we get to hear you read from your chapter, can you share with us from your chapter this morning?
I would love to. You know, the opening that I used from the Tao from Lao Tzu, I'd like to really start with, because I think that sums up the whole chapter. But it says, if you want to awaken all of humanity, then awaken all of yourself. If you want to eliminate the suffering in the world, then eliminate all that is dark and negative in yourself. Truly, the greatest gift you have to give is that of your own self-transformation. And that really sums it all up, doesn't it?
It does. Yeah.
So I was born in 1955. Everything I was experiencing at that time was geared towards the family. The world I grew up in was to a great extent a patriarchal society. I was raised to honor, look up to, and care for the men in my life, and they in turn would protect and support me and all the women and children in the family. I never embraced this belief system totally. From a very young age, I knew I had a strong inquisitive desire to learn, grow, and experience the world very differently from the little girls I played with. I did not fit in, and for many years I felt odd and lonely. I had trouble keeping friends, and there began what would lead to many years of emotional instability. I would think, what is wrong with me? Rejected and bewildered, I would retreat to the familiarity of being with my siblings. My mother and father had 4 children together. I was the third born, having 2 older sisters and 1 baby brother. My parents also took in 6 foster children. When I could not find a friend, I simply went home. There were plenty of us there, and we would share meals and the few television programs we were allowed to watch, and we would play. Often there were tears turned to laughter and laughter turned to tears, but this is what I would fall back on. I always felt this duality of energy and emotion, a strong need for connection, and at the same time, a strong need to fly free. Little did I know that connection would become a lifelong thing for me. I would live to connect many people to their purpose and to living connected to their authentic self. This would be my path. And it was not on the outside of me, as I originally believed, where I would feel this connection. It would be inside me all along. So I now know that the intense love I hold in my heart is what really makes me fly free. So I did soar towards the life I wanted to live, a life filled with music and wonder, a life worth living. I went through a few transformational stages, Liz. And the first one was I needed to confront my own definition of what it meant to be a woman, because my identity was confined by the societal norms I grew up with. I had a very strong belief system that I was challenging. And I asked myself, what does it really mean to be a good woman? Was I being a good mother by uprooting my children and driving across the country with them in tow to follow my dream? I felt shame and sadness for the loss of my first marriage, my best friend. And I still believed that I had to pursue this inner desire that I had. So, and it was in the entertainment field, so kind of was unfathomable for a woman to feel good about that. And I found out about that, actually, I'm not reading right now, but I found out about that as I drove across the country and got stopped in some of the Midwest um, states where they would say I was a Yankee and I was a Yankee without a woman, without a husband there. And
Oh
I'd be like,
dear.
yeah, I was like, wow, the world is really different from, Stratford, Connecticut, where I grew up. This is my little Italian Catholic family that had me sheltered in there. So I felt a lot of shame. And that's very far reaching and caustic to your self perception.
Mhm.
So I had to deal with that. But shame and remorse can't live in the same heart as creativity
Mm.
and success and joy and all the awe that music brings to you that I was
Mm.
able to experience. So, I lived my dream, and
Mm.
my self-worth began to separate from that little voice that was very tied to my upbringing. And in fact, I told it, I wrote this in the book. I did tell it to shut the hell up a few times because um, I kind of felt brave and unstoppable. And that was a new feeling for me.
Mm. And I
So
know
that,
in your chapter, you do talk about these different transformations, 7 different transformations of going that you've gone through in life.
mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
it really resonates with me, that it's not like one transformation, one and done, and look, and now I'm this person.
mm-hmm,
This is an
mm-hmm.
ongoing, you know, change that we just grow more and more into ourselves in a way, right?
If we can harness some of our strengths, then we're unstoppable, really, because we do transform. And for so many reasons, if we become mothers, if we become a wife, if we become a partner, if we grow into a different decade. I remember coming into my 60s with brakes on, like my heels, if you could picture the cartoon going, no, in my 59th year, I was like, don't anybody celebrate the 60s. I don't want to hear a happy birthday. If one person gives me an over the hill card, I'm going to jump. Just don't. And then the morning of my 60th birthday, I got up and I did a meditation and I prayed and I sat there and the house was quiet. Everyone had gone. Even the dogs and the animals were fast asleep. No one was bothering me. And in that silence, in that quiet, what I felt was that same desire that got me across the country to sing when I was in my 20s, that same desire that made me study social services and that made me study positive psychology and that made me study the science of happiness. And that same desire came over me. And the question was, okay, what are you going to do with this decade? And that's when Happily Ever Actions was born. So yes, we're constantly transforming, constantly. We just have to do that behavior. It's going to be okay. Just keep on moving. We're going to be okay here. But certainly, and knowing, every time we transform, there's a different vibrational level that we resonate at. And then you attract new people into your life that are attracted to that and that give that same energy, like meeting you and all the women in the programs that you have going on, and the men. It's just, you just keep moving, and I'm constantly surprised and constantly enamored with people and with our opportunities and with the ability to really use the gifts we're all born with in a way that, I don't know, moves towards the greater good.
I love what you say about finding new people, because that does happen as we transform, right?
Yeah.
And that can be kind of scary to confront, right? When you are leaving one world behind or one, way of living behind, it can be scary and it can feel sometimes alone or like on the brink. And
Yes.
to know that that is temporary, that you will attract more people that resonate on the same vibration as you is a, a very affirming. It's makes me feel good to hear it. And I think a lot of people will encourage them if they're in that space of transformation of what's going to happen next or who are my people, something like
It's
that.
always looking for the next right thing. What is the next right thing that
Mm,
I could do with what I have? Right? What is the next? Where can I go with that? And there's always someone or something ready to meet you
mm,
that says, "Hey, I need exactly that." So it's like, to me, transformation is like putting on my favorite pair of blue jeans. It's like, okay, here we go again. Where are
that's so
those
great.
jeans that I'm so comfortable in
Mm,
because I'm headed towards the unknown,
mm,
but I'm bringing the known with me. I bring all my girls with me. My young child, my 20-year-old rebel,
mhm,
my married lady, the mom, the singer, the writer, the teacher, the social worker. I bring them all with me now. It's like that old Girl Scout saying, you can make new friends, but keep the old. One is
mhm.
silver and the other is
Yes.
gold, right?
Yes.
It is exactly that. It
Mm,
is exactly that.
mm. So thank you so much for being generous with your time and talking with me this morning and sharing it with everyone. How do people get in touch with you if they'd like to learn more about you and the other books you have in the works?
Yeah, the workshops and things. Well, I'm a professor too at the university, and
Oh yeah, by the way.
I teach the science of happiness, but um, we used to be able to do these workshops all over the nation now, and in yoga studios and things like that.
Mhm.
Now we're on Zoom, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
But people are still asking for them. So the best thing to do is to go to Donna at happilyeveractions.com. Send me an email with your information. I'll get back in touch with you and we can set things up.
Perfect. Thank you, Donna. It was great to talk with
You,
you this
Liz.
morning.
I will talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.